What's up everybody and welcome back to another episode of Skyrim Special Edition Mods Weekly. This game has been out for 5 weeks now, which is actually pretty crazy. It does not feel like it's been over a month since the release of this game, but regardless, we are still getting a consistent and constant flow of mods. There are a ton of good mods being released every single day, and in this video I'm going to show you what, in my opinion, are the best of those mods to come out for this very week. YouTube did recently change their algorithm, so if you guys do want to support the series, the best way you could do it is by leaving a like or actually even a comment down below. Let me know in the comments what mod you're still waiting for. Personally, I'm waiting for immersive weapons. That's a mod that I think really makes a big difference in the game, even more so than immersive armors, and again, it's the one I've been waiting for the longest. With all of that being said, if you guys do enjoy the series, I encourage you to consider subscribing again, but with that, let's just jump right into it. The first mod in this week's episode is going to be Expanded Skyrim Weaponry. I actually really like this mod. It is going to be a weapon pack mod, adding in I think over 105 new weapons, that being basically 10 of each of the different categories. So it's actually like 15 new standalone weapons, and then you have like an orcish one, a daedric one, etc, etc. Regardless, this mod is actually very cool because it does really just do what the title suggests and expand the Skyrim weaponry. It doesn't feel like a total overhaul, changing in, adding all these new weapons. It feels more like a DLC pack made by Bethesda, just adding in these high quality weapons that fit perfectly into the game because they're so similar to some of the existing ones, yet different enough that it's still exciting and you still do want to use them because they are again different than what you have in the vanilla game. Some examples of a few of these are like a double-edged battle axe similar to the regular battle axe in Skyrim, but again now having one on each side, a long sword which is going to be more like a claymore or a longer, bigger sword than just your normal two-handed sword, a club, and a maul, so basically just some blunt weaponry that was kind of missing from vanilla Skyrim, and even a quad hammer, which is going to basically just be like 4 hammers stacked on top of each other. In my eyes, the main appeal of this mod is it's really just kind of expanding the weaponry in Skyrim right now. It's not again going to be changing anything massively. You're not going to feel like you're playing a different game like some other weapon mods do. I definitely think it's worth a download for anyone's game. Everything's incorporated into the leveled list, and again, it just spices things up a little bit. So maybe you don't want just a big weapon pack, you just want a nice high quality weapon. Well, then the tribal scimitar is going to be for you. It's going to basically add in a very high quality and very nice looking scimitar that is going to have a one-handed or two-handed version and then a few different color options. So it's meant to again be a tribal theme thing, so it does have a few different designs, one with red, purple, and then blue, and it's just going to be these kind of designs again on the sword, which do look really cool. I actually prefer just the blank one. I think it looks a lot sharper that way. I also do really want to commend the mod author. I think the actual sheath on your back for this looks awesome, which if you're playing in third person, you're going to be seeing that all the time, so I feel like it's very important to give detail to that, because although yes, the sword has to look good, that also does have to look good. All around, it's a relatively simple weapon mod, just adding in this weapon and a few different variants of it, although I really like the look of it, and it's actually probably my favorite mod on this list this week. So next up we have RUGNAROK and PELTAPALOOZA. So these are two mods by the same mod author that are relatively similar, so I'm going to group them together into one. Basically what both of these mods do is actually increase the texture quality and variety of their respective kind of, well, either a rug or a pelt. So RUGNAROK is going to focus on again increasing the texture quality and variety of all the different rugs in the game, so now when you actually look at some of the rugs, they'll be a little bit different and they will again look much sharper. PELTAPALOOZA does the exact same thing except for the pelts. I've said this many times before, but basically my philosophy on these relatively small texture overhaul mods is that installing a bunch of them really does make your game look so much better. Since this isn't a massive landscape overhaul or anything like that, you can know a lot of attention to detail was brought to these little rather finer details in rugs and pelts, but now as you're exploring, you're going to be like, wow, that pelt looks really good, and wow, that rug looks really good. But then as you gradually expand your options, let's say you install a similar mod for tables and then for doors, etc, etc, you'll gradually make your Skyrim look better and better with each mod that you do download. Unfortunately, it does seem like this is one of those mod authors that does have some sort of vendetta against console users. He has said he will not be porting his mod over to Bethesda.net. I don't really know why that is, but regardless, I do respect that, so I apologize to you console users, and kind of just an unfortunate situation to have. Regardless, it's a pretty cool mod for PC users out there. So next up we do have Dragonspear. So they're going to be by the same mod author that did make the tribal scimitar. This is going to be one of those mod authors that actually just did port over all of his mods. Definitely he's going to be one that specializes in different swords mods, and I think the combination of these two mods definitely makes that evident. Dragonspear, just like the tribal scimitar, is an extremely high quality standalone sword mod. It again doesn't really have too many options with it. You're going to get it by crafting it at a forge, and then you're going to have a few minor upgrades for it to just basically do more damage. This one only does have one variant, so you're just going to have that standalone one you can get, although I do really like the sword again. I think the hilt and just some of the detailing on the blade are very cool, and although simple, it does make it stand out from some of the other sword mods out there, as well as it just being so high quality and well balanced. So next up we have Electrify SE. This is a relatively simple mod like some of the other ones on this list. Basically it's going to make electric and electric effects look much better in Skyrim. At first it sounds pretty simple and kind of like, oh, that's kind of dumb. Well, when you actually use this mod, you'll realize what a difference it makes. I found myself leaning much more towards magic, and more specifically some of the thunder and static magic in Skyrim after installing this mod, just simply because of how good it does look. This is going to apply both to you as well as enemies, as well as some of the different effects, like some of the casting effects that have electric in them and some NPCs that have static in them. All those different renditions of electric or static or whatever you want to call it are going to look much better as a result of installing this mod. Again, it's a relatively simple mod. You can kind of see instantly the differences it makes, so it's going to be for you or not for you depending on if you like the change or if you think it's warranted in your mod list. So next up we have Ish's Ars Armorum. This is going to be kind of another weapon pack mod. Basically what this is going to add in is a core progression for every single weapon in the game. It actually also does this for armor, but I feel like that already had a pretty complete system, so it's on a much smaller scale. Regardless, what I mean by a core progression is that let's take a sword in the game. Well, that sword previously may have only been iron, steel, orcish, and dwarven. Well, now after installing this mod, every single piece of weaponry as well as armor in the game will have a iron, a steel, an orcish, a dwarven, an elven, a glass, an ebony, and a daedric option. So you're going to be able to craft these in any of those different variants. It's going to come with textures and models for those different variants, and all around it's a relatively simple mod in ideology, but a very large one in practice. This is going to add in a massive amount of variety into your game while maintaining obviously that vanilla feel, since they are all just kind of the same vanilla weapons, just in a different variant than before. I think this is a great mod to install into your game, again just to increase the weapon variety, which personally is something I really like in my game. Although especially for console users out there, this is definitely going to have a little bit of a trade-off with it due to the file size. It is an 800 megabyte mod, which I could see some people not justifying based on the relatively minor changes it does make, although it does have a massive effect when you install it. All around, I think it's definitely a good mod if you do want to dedicate the file size towards it. Up next, we do have Vivid Landscape. So this is going to be the actual texture quality or landscape overhaul mod that I personally choose to use. It's going to be very similar and comparable to Skyland, which was previously the main and premier option for a mod of this category. Regardless, this actually does tackle some different things, and I'll kind of go through the list that the mod author does provide now. So it does say it's going to overhaul the texture quality of mountains, cliffs, creeks, dungeons, ruins, imperial forts, wood grounds, birth signs, orcs, and farmhouses, the volcanic and tundra region. So what does that actually mean? Basically, it's going to be a bunch of the different textures, landscape textures, as well as some of the different house textures in the game are going to look much sharper and all around just a lot better. Again, this is the mod I personally choose to use. I actually use this in combination with a few other texture overhaul mods that haven't been ported over yet, but once they are, I will make sure to make a video on them. One thing that's actually really nice about Vivid Landscapes is they are typically a modular system. So let's say you only want Vivid Landscapes for mountains. Well, that's going to be an option you will have to download. At the time of recording this, that actually hasn't been made available for Skyrim Special Edition, but I can only assume it will be made available in the near future. Regardless, definitely one of the better landscape mods out there. Obviously, it's my pick, so you have to make your own decision whether you want this or something like Skyland. Although technically there is no reason you can't just use both of these and have one overwrite the other. So up next we do have the Sjel Blad Castle. So basically this is going to be a massive and extremely expansive player home mod for Skyrim Special Edition. This is definitely one of those mods that's going to take a particular type of person to use it. Personally, I like those smaller player home mods where you just run in, have all your storage right there, it's very simple, and then you run out. This is not that mod at all. Basically it's going to add in a fully fledged castle for you to use with a ton of different options inside of it. So once you walk up to the castle, you're going to see it's very expansive. It has guards all throughout it, as well as a ton of different rooms and a teleportation system to get to a lot of these major rooms. It's going to have all your traditional bedrooms, storage rooms, and armory, etc., etc., but even beyond that, it has a lot of customization and just kind of unique features in those rooms. Take, for example, the armory where the companions will stay. You actually have a kind of arena there, so you could do sparring against some of the different NPCs and enemies inside of Skyrim. So you could choose to have monsters, bandits, etc., and just battle them in a safe environment to kind of either have some fun or train up some of your skills. Even beyond that, you could have some servants to actually craft things and make you food inside of your castle, although these all come at a cost, so it's not like overpowered, at least in my eyes. There's an auto item sorting system as well as void storage, which frankly is just kind of like cloud storage. You're going to have this chest that you can put stuff in and you'll have access to it just about anywhere. All around, again, it's going to be a very big and expansive player home mod. Definitely worth the download if that's something you're interested in, but again, I could see how this isn't for everyone. So last but certainly not least, we have the Talos Housecarl armor pack. So what this is going to add in is one set of armor that comes with two different weapons, that being a warhammer as well as kind of a one-handed just hammer. This is going to be a very cool and interesting kind of armor pack, basically being based around a little piece of lore that the mod author did write that does fit in very well into the Skyrim lore. I'm not going to go over it in this video, but I definitely recommend reading the backstory if you do download this mod. Regardless, at face value, what it is kind of an armor pack for Skyrim, meant to be more for kind of, I don't know, a knight or Housecarl character. I'm not really sure how to describe that. Regardless, it does come with a few different helmets and different options for the armor. So you're going to have a regular helmet, then you're going to have a helmet with some different antlers on it, as well as a helmet with a bear pelt on it, I guess, as well as a bear pelt kind of cape style thing that you could put around, which all does look very cool. It definitely enhances the feel and look of the armor, and again, I think it just makes it a little bit more badass. Again, it does add in two weapons, although they feel very similar to the vanilla weapons, so they don't really stand out in any way. I found myself kind of abandoning those relatively quickly and moving on to some other weapon mods, but regardless, it's nice to see that added in with this armor. The armor itself is extremely high quality and fits into the lore very well, as well as I do like the little backstory it is given to make it stand out a little bit more than some other armor mods out there. I definitely think it's worth a download, as well as I think it just looks pretty cool. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for this episode of Skyrim Special Edition Mods Weekly. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. This is going to be a relatively long episode. Again, we did have a lot of good mods come out this week, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.